Hi y'all, welcome back. I've got my laptop open right here and I'm going to pull up the Dynojet software just so we can see what's going on in my maps. Look at the different tuning issues that we had. Compare some of my old map to my new map with the secondary module. You guys can get a real good look at what kind of tuning is going on my bike right now. Hopefully you enjoy this kind of content. If you do, like, subscribe. So let's get on into it. Okay guys, got the Power Commander 5 software open here. Now this is going to look a little different because I am running the secondary fuel module. Let me just say that if you happen to have a 20 R1 or a 21, you know, the 20 and above, right? You probably don't need to spend the money on the secondary fuel module. Just depends on what you're doing, I guess. But I would say for the most part you can get away without it. The bulk of the tuning is going to go on outside of where the secondary injectors are, and you can still add fuel to the primaries, even though they're only contributing 20% of the fuel on the bottom end. You're saying you can still make up that difference. So I want to put that out there. So, but anyway, if you look at my cursor, and I'll just say that because it might make it a little easier for you to compare maps, which is something I'm going to get into here in a second. Which is a really good tool for someone in my position, but most of us, we don't have a dyno, and no good way to run this software and log on the street on a motorcycle. It's a challenge. So anyway, click on fuel, and this is not going to be a Power Commander tutorial. So, but anyway, throttle percentages, your RPMs. I have this in the advanced mode, and I'm also doing 250 RPM increments versus the 500. So, blah. Yeah, this is my map. I felt like this bike, it still does it, and I think it's probably something with the throttle valve versus a tuning issue, because I have attacked this from every direction with fuel and it did improve, but it's still there. My bike, $4,000, second gear, and you go 100% throttle on, I'm talking just a full wick instantaneously. Sometimes it'll sit there and laugh at you for, a half a second or so, and then it'll start to pull. Other times, if you roll into it smoothly, it'll take off. So it's kind of a weird phenomenon. I don't really have the gauges or the tools to get in there to see what's going on, but throwing fuel at it helped somewhat, but it's still there. So that's why you're going to see a lot of 10 to 8% over here in this range. Also, just be aware, 100% throttle ain't doing shit, because this bike only sees 100% throttle around 11,000 RPMs from what I've been educated on. But as I said in my previous video with this, it does interpolate, so I tend to add some fuel over there anyway. Makes me sleep better at night. So anyway, as I was saying earlier, this whole area right here, which I'm about to highlight, and honestly, from what I've seen, that area right there, you cannot do a damn thing with Power Commander. It will not touch it. It is probably a little greater than that too, to be perfectly honest. I just tend to throw some fuel at it because it makes me sleep better at night. And I feel like there's a transition, looking at the wideband, there's a transition between 15 and 20% where it's getting out of that closed loop and it's letting you, it's just throwing fuel at it. So I kind of get a ramp on. I feel like it looked better on the gauge to me. So whether I'm doing anything or not, I don't know, but that's what I did. So I'm also adding fuel over here. It probably doesn't make a lick of difference, but that's going to be your D cell. I can't stand that popping crap. I'm not 12. I want it to come on and come off smooth. So I add some fuel to compensate over there. It seems to help, maybe not a lot. And then, okay, so real quick, 50% and 52 or 6 to 6,000 RPMs. I can't remember off the top of my head. I can switch screens and look, but anyway, what I was getting at is this whole area over here is all zeros, where the Akrapovic map was adding fuel in those areas. I just zeroed this out because 80% of it, well, it's on a ramp, and when you get above, let's just look, I'd have to pull it up and I can't remember, but anyway, the majority of your fuel, without getting specific, the majority of your fuel is coming from your secondaries. When you're at 100% throttle or even 80% throttle and 13,000 RPMs, the fuel's coming from your secondaries. So you're going to see that if you click on the secondary map here, which is what I'm showing you. I feel like I'm jumping around, so excuse me. It's a bunch of damn zeros because the injectors aren't doing anything. Not diddly shit up here. They're not doing diddly shit over here. They do nothing on D cell. So all my fuel enrichment, which is not a whole lot, I'm doing it on my secondaries because they're already giving the bias is the 80% range. Generally we'll just use 80%. It varies, but it's easy to make a 1 or 2% change here and get a good reaction on to get more fuel quickly. So I just tend to go that way, and that's why I say if you're kind of on the short side of money, you could save the $200-300 that secondary module is, and you could totally, even though down here the bike doesn't need a lot of fuel right here, as I'm going to show you later. Yeah, you could totally add 10-11% over here if you needed to, and fix your issues. So anyway, for those of you that were curious, if y'all want to freeze frame this or whatever and copy my map, see what you think about it, I don't care. Nobody's paying me to do this. I do this for the love. The love, baby. So quickly, I'm going to close this out. If you're dealing with Dynojet, this shit right here is free. Okay, download it. The C3 tuning software, I should have showed you that while I had the other one open too, but anyway. The biggest feature of this is we'll do this way. Open, and then we're going to open the Akrapovic. These are two maps that are both provided by Dynojet. So the big deal about this is you go up here to compare, clickety clack. You click compare tunes. You have a base file and a compare file. So I want my base file like apparently the base file is going to be the Akrapovic. The comparison file is going to be, so we're comparing the Akrapovic map to the base map, to stock map rather. You hit compare, and it shows you here which one's your base and your comparison map. What you're always looking at here is your primary TPS adjustment, fuel adjustment. We don't want to look at auto tune values. I mean, you could also compare target air fuel ratios if you want, because they're auto tuning these maps. I'm gonna tell you that off the top. I don't blame them. So it shows you the formula here. The difference is your base minus the comparison. So you have to turn that over in your mind a little bit. My base map is the Akrapovic, and my comparison map is the stock exhaust, stock air filter map. So you can see right here that basically the Akrapovic is, or your base, it's base minus compare. So the base map has 5% less fuel. And what you can do is you can look at your base file. So the base file, this is the Akrapovic map, and it shows you, and these are percentages, by the way, if you didn't know, if I made that clear. It's adding a trailer truck load of fuel right here, and part of that, I mean, the bike is lean right there. I don't know why Yamaha did that, but when you throw a full Akrapovic on here, or probably any type of full with the headers, you pick up this mid-range and it really leans it out, and that's why those numbers are so high. And you can see that even they aren't adding fuel, well, nothing at 100% because it doesn't read 100%, but they're adding, 14-15% fuel here, 70% throttle, but it's down to 5. The bike has quite a bit of fuel up here, but this software is pretty cool for doing the comparison. So you can see that the Akrapovic map has less fuel here for some reason, but it's adding fuel pretty much everywhere else. Again, these areas are 0. You're never going to be at 80 or 90% throttle at 750 RPMs. I mean, it's really not going to go there anyway. So what is, I guess, interesting to look at, if you look at the target air fuel, this is how they set it up. They were targeting 13.2. You can see what they're targeting in these areas. I don't like 12.8. I'm sure they did that for a safety standpoint because of all the wide range of idiots that might get a hold of this map, or shitty fuel or whatever, but I'm gonna run the risk myself. I'm running a 13. Mine's set to 13-1. 12.8 was a little bit rich. My map was hitting, actually 12.9 is what it was hitting anyway, so it was pretty close to what this was. It actually dipped into the 11s in a couple of places, and I had to kind of iron that out. But if you went to your stock map, so this is how they get you on these maps. The only area they're tuning is right freaking here. Another thing, you have less resolution on this map. It's skipping a bunch of RPM percentages or whatever. But anyway, it's very interesting to look at all of that, and this is another tool that you can use to get your bike running where you want it to. So, yep, I just wanted to go over that real quick, to show you the changes that I made. I should do a comparison from my old map, but this was my old map. The bike ran good on this. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this map. I mean, it is fat, it is rich, but it's certainly not a bad map. It'd be a good jumping off point for someone with similar mods. Sprint air filter, 3/4 exhaust, yada yada yada. This is going to put you real damn close to where you want to be. It's definitely safe. It ain't going to blow up on that map. For sure, for sure. So quite a bit of differences in there. This is the secondary module. And you can see data 5,500. I think it's about 5,300 when they come on. And I was adding 6, 7, 8% in places, and it doesn't need that at all. Plus, you know, you just pick an RPM 6750 here, go to the primary. Well, shit, I'm adding all these percentages plus another 5% here. So I went back. First thing I did, I said, well, shit, I'm hitting 11s, 11.8s. I mean, fucking turbo boosted application type AFR. I just went ahead and zeroed these out. I pulled maybe 3 or 4% out, and it didn't really put me close to where I wanted. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to zero this out and just see what it looks like. And it was still a little bit rich, and went back, did some tweaking, boom, you're in there. I mean, that's what you do with fuel. The more you do this, different bikes, the closer you can get off of memory and experience. But, yep, this is also a pretty decent map. So that's that, guys. Just wanted to throw that in there so you can see what was going on. And back to your regularly scheduled tuning. Okay, that's it for the tuning just for right now. Did make quite a bit of changes with the Innovate. It made a great difference in the bike. I just wanted to show you guys what it looked like inside the Dynojet software. For those that are curious, if you get any more questions, hit me up in the comments or shoot me an email or whatever. I'd be happy to answer the questions. I'm sure I left some stuff out. But yeah, that's it. I appreciate you guys watching the video, and come back and hang out down on Street Kings.